you did was right. It's for the rats who want to stab their main dudes in the backs. I wonder how you even live life after that, rats. How you sleep at night? How you
Stop acting like a talk show host and challenge them a little bit.
Exactly.
When they tell you something that doesn't make sense, say, wait, 1 second, this doesn't make sense. Do that.
Hello everyone, I hope everyone's having a great day. Today we're going to take a look at the Lee Cole interview with Tony Silo. Now Lee Cole is dying to be a social media superstar, but Lee Cole doesn't like my comments. Lee Cole does not appreciate my opinion. Now, I wasn't going to make this video at first. I was going to give Lee a break. Then I changed my mind after all the tough guy talk on Saturday night. See, I'm not a tough guy, so this is how I respond to tough guys. Before all the little cheerleaders come in and tell me I'm attacking Lee Cole and Tony Silo. No, I'm just going to show you how I use their own words and hurt them more than they can ever hurt me with their empty threats. But Lee Cole is the guy who has to have a serious channel. He's all about the business. Will he ask Tony Silo any real questions? We will see. So let's get right into this here.
How about if you guys just put on a couple of 4-ounce, some 4-ounce MMA gloves and go do it in the park?
Why would I do that? If I did that in the park, I'd end up behind bars for murder.
All right, we're going to start the video out with a couple of clips of Lee Cole and Tony Silo going at it a little bit. All right, just to give a little reference on why I think Lee should have asked him some tough questions.
I don't understand you, Lee. I really don't understand.
I'm asking.
You know what the fuck
you're getting at? You're getting at. Let me read it. Let me read this.
No.
LeGrand Commission, thank you so much. Hi, Angel Mahler.
You see Angel try to get in front of the confrontation here, try to make the save for Silo before he starts another war with someone else. She reads the super chat real quick, but this is what I hear.
At the puck. Here's Presley. Flyers let him go. He'll wind and fire. Save, rebound. Save, Hextall. He robs Sundstrom.
I don't understand you, Lee. I really don't understand.
I'm asking.
You know what the fuck you're getting at? You're getting at.
Let me read it. Let me read this.
No.
LeGrand Commission, thank you so much. Hi, Angel Mahler and everyone in the chat. Hello. I think we lost Tony Silo. Thank you so much.
Nah, he quit. He rage quit because Lee asked him a couple questions.
I think we lost him. Come back, Tony.
He's mad at me for asking questions. I don't get it.
He's not mad at you for asking questions.
He was just starting to yell at me when he jumped out.
What were you asking him? I was paying attention.
I was asking him logical questions.
All right, Lee said it himself. Silo gets mad when you ask him questions. So why even interview him then? Unless you're just doing it to appease some people. Well, let's look at another situation that Lee was in the center of and you think would force him to ask Silo questions, real questions. But Lee was here for this night too.
That's all right, because I want to fight the kid who said he was going to punch me in the face now, so that's okay. That's fine.
This is the guy Johnny Combat who was on Angel's show a bunch of times. I thought this was Tony Silo's boy until all this happened.
Guys, we're looking to do illegal fights, and they want to sit there about punching people in the face in the street. You can defend yourself in the street. Remember that, little bit.
Hey, Tony, are you talking to me? What's your problem, dude?
I'm not even talking about you.
Why are you holding your breath?
He's not talking to you.
Angel, yeah, he's talking specifically to me.
What did I say specifically to you?
Are you talking to Lee Cole?
I'm not going to sit here and take your shit, dude. You might have these other people fooled, but you don't have me fooled. Take care of it.
What did I fucking say to you? What did I say to you?
You believe this guy, you go right ahead.
What did I...
Now, is this a misunderstanding? Yeah, maybe. But you heard Lee Cole in his own words. You might have these other people fooled, but you don't have me fooled. Lee Cole's exact words. So you think when he interviews him, he's going to ask him some tough questions, right? Let's see.
What did I... You know what? That's your problem right there, that guy.
Wait, once
I was talking about somebody
just happened.
Well, what happened was Lee actually stood up for himself for about 30 seconds. Then he came back on the show because he won't let anything interfere with his dream of social media stardom and Patreon dreams with Angel Gotti.
They're looking for legal fights.
Oh, yeah.
Illegal fights.
Yeah, they were looking.
You can defend yourself. So whatever got up his ass just now, that's on him.
Just think back, since Silo been here, how many fights did he start with people? 99% of them were over a misunderstanding because he just jumps the gun. He's on auto react at all times. Everything bothers this guy. But let's watch the interview, and he's going to tell you how he got schooled by old school gangsters. You're supposed to believe this guy got schooled by old heads.
Somebody made a video.
Oh, go ahead.
He was
Wait, go
working.
ahead. What
You know,
happened?
This is ridiculous. This is really getting ridiculous.
All right, Tony.
Somebody
let
made a
Jen
video
explain
saying that they were gonna punch Tony and Johnny in the face.
The best part of this whole thing is this never happened. The guy Johnny Combat went on MRE's live and they talked about it because MRE never said he was going to punch the guy Johnny in the face. MRE barely remembered who the guy was. In the beginning of the interview, Lee Cole says he and Tony Silo fixed their problems from the past like men. So Lee Cole was there that night, and I'm sure Lee Cole is aware of this whole situation. That should force him to ask a couple questions. Especially because it was a lie. It never happened. Silo made it up.
Just like we would interview anybody else. Let him tell his story, and it's just going to be, an interview. No one's really giving the guy a chance. Everything he says, they want to call him a liar.
This guy was caught in so many lies that there's actual channels made dedicated just to him and his lies. So, it's hilarious. It's really hilarious. I love it.
Hello, everybody. This is Lee Cole 3 with my partner, James Proctor. And we have a special guest here today. And let me tell you why I have him on. Tony Silo. Tony's been under attack, a consistent attack. So I said to myself, nobody really knows anything about Tony because he's been defending himself from day one. Tony and I had some issues. We cleared them up like men. And that was it. It's over.
They say attack. No, the guy was caught on multiple lies. It's called calling him out for his lies. And by them calling it an attack, it opens the door for new people to come on and just make up stories because they know they're going to get away with it.
And I could tell by Tony, what Tony was saying, that he has a very interesting life, James. And so I want to know about his interest in life. So I said, what the heck? Let's do this interview.
Well, I guess so. You're going to have an interesting life when you come on YouTube and just make it up as you go along. I mean, yeah, of course you're going to be the most interesting man in the world.
Tony, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing good. It's great to see both of you guys, and I appreciate you having me.
Did you want to say your name, Tony?
My name is Anthony Joseph Sibilio. Period.
That's it.
There
People.
it is.
That's simple.
It's been
That's
out there
simple.
for weeks.
Yes.
The only reason I ever kept it private was because of my children.
I hear you, Tony. I do the same thing. I protect my identity to protect my kids. But for some reason now, all of a sudden, the last couple months, I'm the bad guy on certain channels for protecting my family. And mind you, I'm not a public figure either, all right?
Right. And you have no criminal record, do you?
Zero.
So, I guess everybody was trying to find out who you were because, like other people who were hiding, when they were discovered, they had criminal records. It came to a surprise when they had no criminal record on you. You know that, Tony?
Ask yourself this. Why didn't Lee ask him, since he has no criminal record, why was he in a courtroom with 1,000 people? And why did a judge send him to the Navy to box?
You guys are like good boys. But I got a funny feeling, Tony, you're not really a good guy. You just didn't do no time.
Silo was doxxed. He had no criminal record whatsoever. To me, that's an honorable thing. That's a good thing. But on YouTube, oh, you're a superstar when you have a terrible record.
So what type of kid were you?
Very athletic. I played a lot of ice hockey, believe it or not. And then we got into boxing, of course, because we had a gym inside of a restaurant that nobody ever knew about.
All right, when there's no questions asked about the secret gym, then you're just a cheerleader, and this is all I hear.
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win.
What are we waiting for? Take us!
They called them smoker fights, underground fights, and stuff like that. And that's where the boxing stuff came into play. And I actually, through very distinguished, established guys in a certain lifestyle, met everybody. I mean, you'd be shocked.
All right, we know the Rat Squad doxed this guy, right? This guy been on here for months saying he had a professional boxing record of 7-0-1. right? So I guess he's trying to say he fought underground with that 701. I don't know. Somebody leave me a comment.
So why don't you tell us about some of those guys you met when you were younger that were nice guys, even though people may think that they weren't?
Okay, well, I grew up in Corona, and I grew up around Tony Federici. Played a lot of racquetball with him, hung around the neighborhood with him all the time, and a few of the guys in the neighborhood. He took quite a liking to me at a very, very young age, and until he got sick, I was around with him all the time, and just different things, rides here, rides there, rides everywhere, and he wouldn't get in the car with many people.
Oh, I guess he's saying he was the driver. Well, that's a big claim to make. And I think if you're going to make a claim like that, after all the liars we've been through on this crazy comical ride, you should be interrogated during this interview.
A couple of the older guys that got out after doing a lot of time, I would drive them certain places to take care of things. I mean, I was that trusted that I got to drive around some very, very powerful people. And, that was it. We did what we had to do and we came back. But I never went inside those rooms. I was always outside those rooms.
Come on. Anybody with a half a brain knows that if you're not associated with them, you're not even getting in the car, let alone being the driver. Come on.
Yeah, so that's pretty fascinating. So did you grow up with him, or just happen to be in the neighborhood?
No, he's old enough to be my dad. I met him as a kid playing paddleball in Flushing Meadow Park of all places. Yeah. And I seen him around the neighborhood, obviously. And he says, hey, go get White Castles one day. And it was a friendship from there.
That's what you hear. What I hear is a little bit of Goodfellas, a little bit of a Bronx Tale, and sprinkle a little bit of Carlito's Way in there. And then you get that story right there.
Facilities. There he is. That's an older picture, too, recently.
Just another crazy Tony Silo statement. That's an older picture recently, he said. I love it. I never understand what he means, this guy. He belongs on this crazy mob tube, YouTube bullshit.
And what was his rank?
He was actually, well, he was a captain, obviously, but he was the acting boss for a while when the other guy went away.
I give it a month. This guy's going to be telling all kinds of long tales about how he was at sit-downs, all kinds of crazy shit.
Do you speak to some of these guys still, Tony?
Every time I'm up there, yes.
So when you go up there, where do you and your woman like to go?
I bought another condo up there. We go to all the restaurants, see old friends, and that's about it.
I don't know, but this interview reminds me a lot of like MSNBC asking Joe Biden what kind of ice cream he has, vanilla or chocolate, in the midst of a scandal. I mean, it's the same thing.
Well, I tell you what, when my mother and father are buried, okay, the exact plot, they're one on top of the other, is Calvary Cemetery. And the Godfather scene, when Mama Brando passes away, that's the plot next to them. And that's exactly where they're buried. They're buried right next to the plot that they used in the Godfather.
Now, I'm not saying I believe this, but something's got to be true. I mean, just to think of these crazy stories, you got to have a crazy mind. It's just nuts. The stories get better and better and better. He just keeps one-upping himself. It's crazy.
So you're a teenager, and you get older, you're meeting these guys. So what path did you wind up taking in life? What did you do to make money? What did you do to make a living?
You know what it was? It's cufflink. Huh? And now I'm giving it to you. And it's got to be like an angel on your shoulder, see? And if you ever get hurt and you feel that you're going down, this little angel is going to whisper in your ear. He's going to say, get up, you son of a bitch! Because Mickey loves you. Okay?
Gave me karaoke bars to run money.
Yes.
I mean, I was in control of over 35 guys. They could have, if you owed anything, you were paying.
Just waiting for Lee and James to break out the pom-poms. Give me a T. Give me an R. What's that spell? Transpo. Yay! And there's more to this interview than just the interview. It's also vengeance and validation.
Handled the security business, handled the purchasing of the alcohol, handled the cigarettes, which was huge. The cigarettes were topped out at about, going back into the mid-90s, at around $5.50, $6 a pack. They were getting $20 a pack. We had a couple of hookups that were able to get them through the military, of all places.
Leave me a comment if anyone knows if the military has a statute of limitations. Because why would you incriminate yourself and other people? It just doesn't make any sense at all.
one of the cops was in the military prior. I don't know what you would call it, but he would go get him, and we made a fortune just off of cigarettes. We didn't even have to go to Carolina. He was just bringing them in from there. One time I almost got in trouble, and I mean real trouble. Okay, so we had an Irish guy, and he was a good friend of mine. I knew him through the construction business because I dabbled in that a little bit too. And he says, I got a guy, he's got 10 18-wheelers full of Marlboros and Marlboro Lights. I said, what kind of prices are you looking for? He goes, $5 a carton. I said, no, we got it for that.
Think about how many cartons of cigarettes you could fit on 10 18-wheelers. And then think about, even if they were $1 a carton, what that comes out to. If he said a couple U-Haul trucks, I might believe it.
I didn't know. We bought them all. They were from South Africa. However the hell that, I don't know how he got them here or whatever. I don't know that end of the story. The tobacco was like smoking poison. What was the difference in the tobacco? And actually found some people who bought them out, thank God, because I would have been stuck with all of these.
It's a very odd story to have a happy ending. That's just my opinion. But like I always say, I'm just a faceless troll, so what's my opinion matter anyway? Who the fuck am I?
It was my deal. I went out and made the deal. It wasn't that they were illegal cigarettes. It's just that the tobacco in South Africa is completely different than United States tobacco.
Nobody said to themselves, hey, why would the United States be buying South Africa tobacco? Especially if it tasted like poison.
So, I mean, but there was such a profit in cigarettes. We were thinking about driving to the Carolinas, and I was talking to this guy one night. His name was Paul. He goes, Tony, come on, take a walk with me around the corner. I want to ask you something. I said, and that's when he told me about buying from the military and stuff like that. I think it was the packaging store or the packing store or something they call it. Jen's tried to explain it. I don't know. I was only in there for a couple of weeks.
I have nothing but respect for people that served our country, people in the military. And for this guy's sake, I really hope he produces some paperwork, because if not, that's bad. Or maybe they should ask him, does the military take people for just a couple weeks, just a box? Or when did they stop taking convicts and sending them off to the military? When did the justice system stop that, or when did the military stop that? But he has no record. Remember, he was doxxed. He has no record whatsoever, so I don't even know why he would be in that situation. Now remember, there's always a little bit of truth mixed in with the lies, but I just don't believe any of this. Guys, because just when you think he can't come up with a better story, bang, he's got one right for you, right in your face. But there it is. Like I always say, I'm only showing you what I see. This is just the opinion and the view from a dope who worked his whole life. But for some reason, my opinion and my little comments raise a lot of hairs on people's necks. There it is. Have a great day. I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you.